Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and today I'm going to chat with you guys briefly about how most strength training is structured. And in this case, I think people will realize that even though this is done for powerlifting with what you're seeing here, this could be done for general size and strength. Okay, this could be done for general size and strength. And even my people who come to me who are not necessarily going to compete in powerlifting, we still use the squat, bench, and deadlift as foundational lifts. They're good foundational lifts even for people who just want general strength and they want to be real jacked, if you program it the way that I'm outlining here. And this is usually if we're not doing conjugate, which kind of has its own little set of rules. This is how I would recommend most people train and how they lay out their programming. You're always going to start with a main lift. And I usually only have people do, once they're not novices anymore, we don't even do multiple real sets. We mainly just peak up to one heavy set, something in the 1 to 6 rep range, depending on what we're doing. We might set it as rep goals or whatever, or percentages and work off of that, or a training max. But generally speaking, you start with a primary lift. Okay, and if you're going to do squat and deadlift in the same day, I'll usually do squat and then deadlift. Okay? It's how I train currently. So you're going to see through this video, I've got 9 different exercises, and they're kind of done in order. It is done as a bench press, and a squat, and a deadlift, and there's an assistance exercise and an accessory exercise after. So the whole idea with this is, in this case, the bench press, you'll see a bench press, and you'll see an incline with a pause, and you'll see a JM press for triceps. All right, you'll see a back squat. You're going to see a safety bar pause squat, which is an assistance exercise. Okay. Then you're going to see a really high rep, like 20 rep set of belt squats done with a medium stance, done fairly deep to, again, build quads and adductors. All right. And then last through here, you're going to see a conventional deadlift. Then you're going to see a deficit deadlift, which is an assistance exercise. Then a glute ham raise, which is a major hamstring builder. Then, so if you look at all of that, what's going on here? What do these things mean? Okay, usually if we're starting with the main lift, it's the lift we care about most. And I think even for people who are saying, look, I just want to be really jacked, I think it's actually a good idea to train this way. And I'm not talking about if you want to be a pro bodybuilder. I'm not saying if you want to compete in the Mr. Olympia, and odds are you aren't. Okay, there's only like 10 people doing that, 20 people doing that every year. I have over 100,000 followers. I can assure you that statistically can't be most of my followers. So that being said, let's not even delve into that. Let's not worry about it. You just want to get real jacked, you should probably get strong. Okay, you should probably get strong. So let's say you pick your 3 main lifts, and we'll just stick with squat, bench, deadlift here. An assistance exercise is a lift that you do afterwards. And people say, well, how many assistance movements? You need 1 assistance movement. That's it. Why would you need more than 1? You take an assistance movement and you train it based around where you're weakest at. You pick an assistance movement that fixes your weak link in the movement, that has movement pattern carryover. Example, you'll notice in all the cases, it's a press, a squat, or a deadlift of some type. Right? Unless it's a good morning, which is, a separate hip hinge. And I do use that as an assistance for a lot of people. All right. In the case of this video, incline bench, it helps me where I stick at. Right? Where I am sticky on my bench press, the incline bench has phenomenal carryover. A lot of people say, but man, wouldn't that really well round someone's physique? Oh, well, maybe think about that for a minute. What were the classic physiques built off of? Well, people who were really strong. Yeah, so of course it will. Well-balanced musculature. So wherever you're weakest in your musculature, in many cases, turns out to be a weak link in your strength or your movement patterns. It can be. But so it's kind of a self-correcting thing, right? So if we're just trying to get big, let's see, the assistance exercise oftentimes addresses an area where you're not big enough, because that's why your movement pattern's bad there. But in this case, we get movement pattern carryovers also, right? Incline is very similar to a bench. And if you have certain movement pattern mistakes in the bench press where you're weak that are due to compensation, incline can fix them. Deficit deadlift. It's a deadlift with a longer pull from the bottom. Very direct movement pattern carryover, okay? Pause squat. Pause squat. It's very obvious. Even with the SSB, it's very obvious that carries over to a squat. There's movement pattern carryover. So assistance exercises get us thicker and help us with the movement patterns. We usually do them heavier. They're usually done with, 10 or less reps. Usually even less than that. All right. So what about the accessory work? Accessory work, if you come down to it and really think about it, is essentially what people would think of as bodybuilder type work. Okay. Now, can we pick and do a lot of accessories that address our weakest points on our big lifts? Sure we can. Sure we can. But they're also where we fill in all the weak gaps muscularly. And keep in mind, when we pick accessories are not done to address movement pattern issues at all. In other words, we don't care about their carryover. We just want to get big. Now, if we get big in the right places, we will get stronger. In other words, you see me doing 20 rep sets of a pretty deep belt squats, right? Doing full range of motion belt squats. Well, if my quads and adductors get bigger from that, will my squat go up? Of course it will. But is it really always going to be true movement pattern carryover? No, because I'm using a completely different stance than that squat. I'm much narrower. Okay? It's not really the same movement. But it will build the muscles. Big quads will help your squat. All right, the glute ham raise. Yeah, it works glutes and everything and low back some, but it's really a phenomenal hamstring builder. But what does it really do? It builds all 3 heads of the hamstring. The deadlift really only uses 2 heads of the hamstring effectively. So it's not really a true movement pattern carryover, but it will give you thick hamstrings. Okay? Will thick hamstrings improve your deadlift? Yes, they will. Will they improve your squat? Yes, they will. But it doesn't have a movement pattern carryover because it's a dissimilar movement. JM press. We could argue on the assistance aspect, but JM press is it's a sledgehammer for the triceps. The JM press builds thick, strong triceps, a tricep exercise. Now, will it help your bench lock out? Oh, absolutely. But it's doing it because the muscle is getting big and the heads of the muscle involved in the bench are really getting hammered hard. Okay, but we're doing it to get bigger. That is our only goal with accessory work. We're filling in everywhere that we might be lacking from all the other work and saying we just need to get generally bigger, and in some cases we'll put extra accessory work towards our weakest links. But we're using it just to get thick, and we should be using it every single workout. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys next time.